Panch, it's a pleasure to welcome you. Thank you so much.
Delight to be here with all of you. It's an honor.
National Science Foundation has much broader implication than just in the US. I was here listening to you earlier. It was established somewhere in 1950, and then the foundational purpose is what I wanted to learn from you, and then we can expand from there.
Yes. Yes, it was established in 1950 with the explicit purpose of unleashing discoveries in science, engineering, making possible technologies and solutions for advancing health, prosperity, welfare, and securing the national defense. Right? So this is a very important thing that people should know, is that all the technologies of today, you will find that there is some tire track backs to fundamental work that NSF made possible, and then subsequently carrying those innovations further in the development process. And then, of course, the rest of the ecosystems do participate in a partnership role in terms of lifting all of them to what we see as industries and successful industries of today, entrepreneurial ventures of today. But the most important thing that NSF does, if I were to describe it in just one word, is people. The people that are made possible through NSF investments and their ideas being nurtured, inspired, and then brought to life. It's about that. That is the most important thing that NSF does.
You talked about people. I think this is where this has become a role model for other organizations and governments, in fact, around the world. The way we empower people through science and technology. And we always talk about policies being the barriers. But here it worked the other way around, that you let people come and take the leadership and thrive on that. And this is very different compared to, so when others come and try to learn from us, they do not learn it completely. So Silicon Valley is a great example of a very thriving ecosystem, very open system, and everybody in the world tried to ape it, but nobody could succeed. So your thoughts on that?
So you're absolutely correct. I mean, it's a crown jewel, if I may say that, of the United States, primarily because of the fact that science is not only bipartisan but post-partisan. Okay, and so what is beautiful about NSF is NSF has the support, the total support of the both sides of the aisle, and that makes possible the investments that NSF makes, prosperity everywhere across the nation. What we're trying to do more of, as you heard from what I said, is how can we be more intentional about making sure that opportunities are made possible for everyone, everywhere across the nation, and innovation is possible anywhere across the nation. Now, in doing so, NSF is increasingly looked upon as a model, even in terms of the unbelievable innovations and discoveries that NSF has made possible. I talked about the 262 Nobel laureates, right, that NSF has made possible through their early investments, right? It is their work and their perseverance that got them their prizes, and that should be honored. But the fact that an agency will invest early in their ideas is something that NSF does really well. Now, therefore, this becomes a model. Many people across the globe will come and tell me, we would like to have something like NSF in our country. So how do we go about doing it? The first thing I would say is, how might you make sure that it is completely bipartisan, if there are multiple views of it? Science is beyond all of that. I would argue that science is global, no question about that. Scientific expertise is global. The global grand challenges require, therefore, bringing the scientific expertise globally, the scientific context that are made possible globally, in terms of finding creative solutions for these global grand challenges that can then again be applied in context to different parts of the world. So that's what makes NSF a unique agency. It has unleashed these possibilities not only all across our nation, but it's also inspired possibilities everywhere across the globe.
The other important thing you mentioned, securing it. Securing the intellectual property is very critical for any nation. And then sharing is a very different aspect of it. So when it comes to securing, how do you ensure that you secure but yet you share with the rest of the world?
Yeah. No, I think what I said in my talk was the respect for intellectual property. So that everybody across the globe, every nation, has got an intellectual property process. So you respect the process of every nation, and when the intellectual property and when patents are being made, then if you're going to utilize those patents, there's a process for using those patents, and some of the folks that patent are even making these patents available for people to use for the global good. So it is about following the process, respecting the process, and using it with the appropriate approaches that needs to be taken. That's the important thing. When all of us globally work together like that, then there are no contentions. There is no dissonance. We all know that we are applying it not only for the betterment of our citizens through the industries that we create in our nations, but also it is for the global good. So let us say if there is a patent in the area of climate change, clearly that has global implications. And so it will of course be deployed in a way that it benefits all of humanity. So there's no question about that. But that it is done in the appropriate way is the most important thing that we have to safeguard.
So from the 1950s to now, there's so much advancement in technologies, in the application of scientific methodologies. When you look at the world with the advent of AI and other things, there are huge implications moving forward. So NFI has been consistently updating itself to meet the challenges of the times. So when we talk about the current technologies implications, how do you think NSF will play its role going forward?
A very important question. As you know, that AI has shown to us that what is needed not only is, of course, technological inspirations and scientific discoveries, but that encompasses the social, behavioral, humanities and other disciplines to make sure that they are not thought of as after the fact, putting bandages on problems, but instead include them in the process of the creation itself. So if you look at the trustworthiness that's talked about in AI, okay, or responsible and ethical development of AI, all of these things, if you bring in the appropriate disciplinary expertise into this, then you will build not only better technologies, but you'll also build technologies that can be deployed without any concerns. And that's what you want to see. So at NSF, one of the crown jewels of NSF is the Social Behavioral Economic Sciences Directorate. So increasingly, not only what we are trying to do is to make possible innovations and discoveries in the social sciences and behavioral sciences and others, but we are also trying to see how it also makes possible the interweaving of those inspirations into the other directorates and building of technologies and scientific discoveries with an appreciation, understanding, and integration of those ideas, and so that we build the technologies so that, as I said, can be deployed without concern, and that it actually delivers for the aspirations of what the populations are hoping for and wishing for, that comes out of the technologies, is betterment of their lives, prosperity, and economic security, and national security, all of that.
My last question is about a younger population. How do we continue to engage and excite them into STEM courses? Obviously, humanities is a very important element along with it. But I think somewhere I see a lot of American-born and raised kids are losing interest in STEM, but it has to continue if we have to keep America strong.
So I have the following view of the world. Whenever somebody points a finger, why is this way? There are three fingers pointing back at you, which means that we have a lot of work to do before you point a finger. Why is this happening? Let's ask the question. Because these kids are very bright. I mean, look at them handling technology with ease that you and I sometimes struggle with. So it tells me that what is required is that the word that you used, how do we inspire more children to be excited about science, technology, engineering, and math? Not that all of them would become STEM experts, but the fact that they have that appreciation for STEM, then even if they were to pursue any discipline, that they would then have this appreciation, understanding, and therefore be able to integrate that inspiration in whatever they do. So how do we do that? Who's responsible for that? I would argue that the teachers are people who inspire. I can go back and look at my own journey. I can point to many teachers who have inspired me along the journey. So we need more inspirational teachers, for which you need then teachers to be rewarded, recognized, given the opportunities to train themselves. So NSF is focused right now in terms of how do we make possible teacher training. The teachers already in the workforce, but also teachers who are getting trained today in teacher colleges. How do we inspire them with the scientific spirit? How do we get them to start to engage with other disciplines even as they are going through the training process, so that when they get inspired, they inspire the children in return, right? And there are families who inspire people too, And how do we make sure that we are making these tools and information possible for families to take advantage of, how they might inspire their children through all these things that are available in addition to their own inspirational journeys. But for those kids who don't have the families that are able to inspire them, we want to make sure that we are providing the resources for schools and teachers and the neighbors and neighborhoods and the parents to be able to take that and inspire their children about what is possible when they get inspired by STEM. And so this is a work in progress. This is requiring of partnerships of every sector. I would say that industry has got a huge role to play, right, in inspiring children. If industry were to partner with K-12 institutions, right, if academic institutions partner with K-12 institutions, if the community partners with the K-12 institutions, we will have a future which is filled with STEM inspirations, that every one of our children will have that opportunity to then express it in the form that is best suited for their own personal journey and aspirations that they dream about.
Absolutely. Very well said, Panch. Thank you again for taking the opportunity.
You're most welcome.
You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Job.
Yes.
Thank you.
And PanIIT has done a great job of bringing together amazing talent all across the globe and all across the nation to see how we can share these inspirations, all of us, learn from each other, and see how we can build better futures for everyone.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.